Welcome to China! This is the east gate of the Temple of Heaven. There are 4 gates in total: east, south, west, and north. If it is the first time for you, I really think the east gate is the way to go. Why? Because it's right next to the Tiantan East Gate station on subway line 5. A short walk from the station gets you straight to the entrance. Super convenient, especially if you are visiting from out of town and don't want to walk all the way around. Please look at these old, huge cypress trees on both sides. They don't look like those perfectly trimmed city trees you see everywhere. In Chinese culture, pines and cypress stand for things like longevity, endurance, and staying strong through the tough times. And some of these trees have been standing here for hundreds of years. You will see little colored tags on them. Different colors mean different ages and protection level. So when you are here, slow down for a second, because the history is not always in the buildings, it's also written in the rings of the trees. As you go further in, you will come across a long corridor. Nowadays, it's just a place where people sit, chat, and enjoy the view. But back in Ming and Qing dynasties, they actually had a job. It was the path they used to move offerings and ritual stuff to where it needed to go before the ceremonies. So the path we are walking today was once part of a super serious ritual procession. And that's what I love this place. It's not just a bunch of old buildings to look at. It's a whole space designed with purpose. Which gate you enter, which path you take, everything was planned out. After you pass the corridor, right before get to the ticket check for the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, there's a perfect photo spot. Old trees, blue sky, and that round roof all in one shot. Don't miss it when you are here. And right behind me is the most iconic structure of the Temple of Heaven, the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest. The name of this hall has the character Qi, which means to pray. This was not a place where the emperor handled daily affairs. This was where he came to pray for good weather and a big harvest. In ancient China, a good harvest was not just about food. It was about keeping the whole country stable. So this was not just religion, it was politics too. The building itself is pretty mind-blowing. No steel, no concrete, just the wood, brackets, and the pillars holding everything together. And the number of pillars, not random. Some stand for the seasons, some stand for months, some stand for hours. Basically, every number here means something. They are all reminders that the universe runs on order and the people need to find their space in that order. From here, we are going to walk south along the central axis, and pretty soon you will run into the Imperial Vault of Heaven. Local people call it the Echo Wall. The Echo Wall is about 60 meters in diameter. The surface is smooth as glass. Here is the cool part. If you stand at one end of the wall and whisper something, someone standing at the other end can hear you clearly. It's not magic, it's just physics. Sounds, waves bouncing along the curved surface without losing much energy. But in ancient China, people probably thought that was something supernatural. Now, here is a fun legend. They say when the emperor came here to pray, he whispered on one side of the wall, and his voice would travel all the way around and come back to him, like the heavens were answering back. All right, let's move to the Circular Mound Altar. The first thing you feel here is the concept of a round heaven and a square earth. The outer space is a square, that's earth. The inner altar and the walls are round, that's heaven. The ancient Chinese saw the sky as a big dome covering everything, and everything on earth grow is square. This altar has 3 levels. As you climb up, it feels like you are moving from the human world up through the emperor's space and finally to the top where you are face to face with the sky. And here is something cool. Keep an eye out for the number 9. 9 is the biggest single-digit number, and in Chinese traditions, it's all about supremacy and royalty. You'll find it everywhere, in the steps, the railings, the stone slabs. It's amazing how they packed all the abstract power and the cosmic stuff into actual number you can touch. Around the altar, you will see a bunch of white marble pieces. They look soft and worn now, and some details are faded. But if you look closely, you can still make out clouds and the dragons. Clouds up top, dragons weaving through. All these designs are tied to the idea of communicating with heaven. The Temple of Heaven was first built over 600 years ago. Back in the Ming Dynasty, rain, sun, wind, and millions of visitors have left their marks. So when you see those worn-out carvings, honestly, that marks the history. That makes the history feel more real. History isn't always shiny and new. They get weathered, they get worn, and that's what makes them authentic. If you happen to visit on a rainy day, there's a little cool detail. Water flows out of drains that look like dragons spitting water from their mouths. See, even back then, they had to deal with the drainage. So it's not all symbolism. They had to make things work too. If possible, come on a weekday. Weekends get packed. And trust me, it's hard to take good photos or just enjoy the quiet when there is a big crowd. For the route, I will suggest starting at the east gate. Check out the cypress trees and the corridor. Then head to the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests. From there, walk south along the central axis, past the Imperial Vault of Heaven, and finish at the Circular Mound Altar. The flow just feels right, and you get the whole journey from praying for harvests to offering to heaven. Beijing has 2 different sides. One is the grand historical side, like the Temple of Heaven. The other side is hidden in the old neighborhoods and the narrow alleys. I usually joke, this is a journey from heaven to earth. So how do you get there from the Temple of Heaven? Head out the west gate, take line 8, get off at Shichahai, and welcome to the real everyday Beijing. Those narrow alleys are called hutongs. Today, they may look like a tourist attraction, but they are more about old school way of life. In English, hutong means narrow alley, but Beijing hutong is more than just a road between 2 buildings. It connects courtyard homes, corner shops, trees, doorways, and the everyday lives of the people who lived here. 四合院 is a traditional family courtyard. In the past, life in Beijing happened right here. Grocery shopping, chatting, soaking up the sun, kids playing in the lanes. In the traditional image, several generations may share one courtyard. Grandparents, parents, and children living together. What is called 4 generations under one roof. So hutongs are not frozen history. They are a living mix of a family, neighborhood, and urban memories. Let's check out this front door. Lintel, threshold, door knockers. Those little details tell you something about the courtyard behind them. There's a phrase in Chinese called 门当户对. It means 2 families are well matched in social status. Mendang are those stone blocks on either side of the door, like a drum or pillow-shaped stone. Their size and carvings showed who lived here. Hudui are the decorative posts above the door. It says something about the family's status. The number and the design also signal the family's rank. So this phrase literally meant the door decorations match. Eventually, it says something about marriage. So when you walk through the hutongs, every door has a story about who lived here, what they valued, and how they wanted to be seen. What makes hutong special is how they mix history with everyday life. You see someone back home, seniors chatting, kids walking back from school. It's nothing like the Forbidden City or the Great Wall. Hutongs are not spectacular. They are about the pulse of the city. If the Forbidden City is Imperial Beijing, the hutongs tell you the story of Beijing's local life. Hutongs are not the Beijing's biggest attraction. They are the closest you will get into real life here. So skip the skyscrapers and the palaces for a bit. Lost in a hutong, walk slow, you will find a quiet, more real Beijing. I'm Ranga, showing you China through the eyes of the Chinese people. Thanks for watching and see you next time.